Well, I'm delighted to say we are joined by Omonoia Nicosia manager Neil Lennon. Neil, delighted you could join us on the programme. The first question's got to be, I mean, are you really happy out there? Fantastic weather and a team that's doing well.
Yeah, it's a really exciting project we've got. They were champions last season, but they haven't had a great season this year, Peter. So we're still in the semi-final of the cup, which is a big trophy for the club to win. So we're very excited about that. And then obviously looking to build on the squad for next season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people might have been a little bit surprised that you decided to take on that job. But since you've got there, what have you found about the Cypriot football and the standard of player you've got and the job in hand?
Well, the standard has surprised me. The league is very competitive. There's not much between the teams, and it's all down to the finer details, really, at times during the games. The passion here is anything on a par with Scotland. But, we're getting good crowds. With us being in the bottom half, we're really relying on the crowds for the cup games. But the top six, the crowds are really healthy.
What's the remit for you, this one? Is this a long-term project where you feel you can get your teeth into it and help, Omonoia Nicosia first and foremost, get up in that top half and challenging? Is that what you think you can achieve there?
Yeah, very much so. The remit is, endeavour to win the cup and then look to rebuild the squad. There'll be players out of contract, and we're looking to bring players in, obviously. So that's an exciting challenge in itself over the summer. But first and foremost, we want to negotiate this semi-final. It's 2 legs over here, Peter. So we're away first, the Northices, and then we have them the week after on the Wednesday. But we're at a very exciting stage of the competition.
I've got to ask you, it would be, I think, foolish of me to suggest that you're rebuilding because everybody knows what you can do as a manager. Do you feel as if you're using this again as a reminder to everybody that, Neil Lennon is an experienced coach. Neil Lennon is someone who can handle the pressure and go out there and prove to everybody again that, you've got what it takes?
Well, I am all of those things. And, I've won trophies, I've won promotions. I'm 500 games into my managerial career. I had a bit of time out, really enjoyed that, but I got really itchy feet. But I wanted to challenge. Obviously, going abroad is something I always wanted to do. It's maybe not one of the top leagues in Europe, but it's still very competitive and a great experience for me. And I feel reinvigorated. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I've got complete passion back for the job. And Gary's obviously come out with me, and we are enjoying it immensely.
I can see that, but the look on your face is it's almost like a relaxed, good feel about you. I can sense, I always know, down through the years of knowing you when Neil Lennon's in a good place, and I can sense that from just looking at you, Neil. How difficult was it to get over the pain of what happened at Celtic? Did it take a long time for you psychologically, mentally, and of course, in a physical sense, just trying to get yourself back up there?
Yeah, physically and mentally, it was tough. It was more mentally than anything else. I just felt that I got treated a little bit unfairly by some sections of the support and some sections of the media. But that is the nature of the job at a big club. You are you're under the gaze of huge expectation, and we were going for something very special. But there were a lot of things out of your control as a football manager. We were going through a pandemic, and it just didn't happen. Previous season, we were rampant. The lockdown came, and things just began to unravel. However, that does not take away that it was hugely disappointing from my perspective. We could have managed things a little bit better, and me as well. But it was one of those sort of bizarre seasons where you couldn't have predicted it, Pete.
Well, that's the point I was going to make to you, because, you know, as some people made those criticisms, some of them, as you mentioned, unfairly, I always kind of a snap back at a few people saying, well, he wasn't a bad coach when he delivered 2 wins over Lazio. You know, he wasn't a bad coach when he delivered, you know, ultimately the treble in your hour of need. I don't think even anybody writing a book could have come up with a scenario where all situations collided against you. Yes, you made mistakes. The chief executive made mistakes. The club's recruitment policy, everything in it, and of course the pandemic seemed to collide against you.
Yeah, I remember when the lockdown came, we were going to Ibrox, you know, 13 points clear. We'd already won the League Cup. We were well ahead in the league, and we were in the Cup semi-finals. And then things got shut down for 3 months. Now, we didn't change our philosophy of training or methods, but the atmosphere obviously changed. You know, we were players who wanted to leave, couldn't get away, and then we were under really strict protocols in how the players lived their lives, and they found it difficult. And the players who came in found it difficult because it wasn't what they were expecting, obviously. We were all hoping that, you know, the lockdown would have ended or crowds would have been back in right about November, December time. But obviously that was never the case, and we never really got any momentum in the season at all.
It's a $64,000 question. I always sometimes look at certain points in people's lives or sliding doors moments. Would you have changed anything? Would you have said, oh, we're not going to Dubai, oh, I'm not going to deal with a certain player that way, I'm going to change my tactics? Is there something in your head, because I know you think deeply about it, is something in your head you'd have thought I'd have changed?
I'm not convinced Dubai was the reason why things went wrong for us. Things were going wrong for us way before then. The recruitment wasn't great, but we felt that the players we were bringing in were players, but they just couldn't get the grips with what they were expected to do, and in totally unnatural circumstances. So it's hard, Pete, to put your finger on one specific thing that you'd have gone, yeah, I'll definitely change that.
Tell me this.
Because you don't become from being like a treble winning manager to a total dud in the space of 3 months.
Yeah. Would it surprise you if I said you do in Scotland? Because that's the nature.
Yeah, I suppose you do.
Yeah. I mean,
you do it in 3 days in Scotland.
Yeah. I've got to ask you this. Knowing you as I do, how painful was it because of, you're a Celtic fan, you played for the club, you managed them to great success. Has that pain diminished?
Yeah, it was painful, yeah. Your pride's hurt, and you feel sort of people turn on you very, very quickly. And that's the fickle nature sometimes of football and football support. But I didn't see it coming in the volume that it did come.
Has it hampered your relationship with the likes of, for example, Peter Lawwell, Dermot Desmond? I know you were very close to them. Has your relationship changed?
No, not at all. It has with some other people, ex teammates. But certainly not with those two. No, I was very close to those and still am.
It's one of those lines I've got. You say ex-teammates. Is it teammates who were critical of you from your own playing days? Have you had the chance to address that with them?
From happy people. They're basically stabbing me not in the back, in the front.
Have you had the chance to speak to them about it?
Yes.
What was the reaction?
I didn't mean it that way.
Yeah. Is it one? Is it two? Can you tell me who they are, or do we just have to draw our own conclusions?
I think conclusions, Peter. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Let me ask you this. You go out, Ange Postecoglou eventually is the choice of Celtic manager. What do you make of him?
Brilliant. I think he's a bit of breath of fresh air. I think his style of football is great to watch. I think the way he comes across in the media, he's pretty straightforward. I think he's genuinely a really good guy. I've spoken to him on a lot of occasions. He's rebuilt the squad, which it needed doing, but everybody knew that. But I think some of the players that he's brought in have been fantastic. And he's on the cusp now of them winning the title, which would be a remarkable achievement.
Do you like the way his team plays football?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's all front foot. I think they don't sort of change their manner no matter who they're playing. And they try and go and win games early. And if they can't win them early, then they just try and win the game as the best possible style as they can. I think I've taken a leaf out of his book. So Ange has been in Australia, he's been in Japan, he's been now in Scotland. So I'm looking at it thinking, why not go abroad and sort of broaden your horizons and take on a different culture? So looking at what Ange has done over the last few years and his body of work was sort of a catalyst for me doing this.
And with that in mind, I don't imagine you can see him slipping up. They're 6 points clear.
Look, you never say it's over until it's over, Peter. But they've got 6 points and really good goal difference. Obviously, losing the semi-final is a sore one, but over the piece they've been so consistent since October. And I think psychologically the win against Rangers, in was January, February, was a huge shot in the arm for the club and for Ange himself. And they've been imperious domestically up until Sunday.
Did you expect them to lose that semi-final? Were you surprised by the events that unfolded?
No, I don't think it was a surprise, no. I think Rangers are a good team. They proved that with the Europa League run they've put together. So they've beaten Borussia Dortmund, they've beaten Braga, they've beaten Belgrade. So they've got, good experience and good quality in the team. So this season there's not been much between the teams, but Celtic have been really good to watch and really consistent.
You mentioned there about Rangers. You've been to Seville. Can you see them go all the way? Can you see them get past Leipzig?
Difficult. Leipzig are a strong team with pedigree, but I think Rangers will be not fazed by it. They've already proved their pedigree in Europe this season with some great performances home and away. So if they can, get some sort of result away from home at Ibrox, they're a difficult team to beat.
Yeah, I was going to ask you just a couple of points before you go. As manager of Celtic, you had a few special players. Is there anyone you would have liked from the current squad that Ange has?
Oh, I really like Hugo. I wish I had Joe Hart last season. I like Abada. I think he's led in with some really important goals. Hatata has made a great impression. And then some of the stalwarts, Roger McGregor, they've been fantastic. Greg Taylor's had a good season. So the mix has been good. And what he's put together is a vibrant, hungry squad on the cusp now of winning the title.
Yeah, you mentioned there the stalwarts. You had Bruni. Callum McGregor's a different animal completely, different type of captain.
He's brilliant, Peter. Even last season, I felt so sorry for him because I think he was let down by a lot of other people around him. But he's shown his qualities again this season. And I go back to that Rangers game when he was wearing a face mask the first time. He was really good. He is a manager's dream, and he's a teammate's dream. And club or international football, he is such a brilliant role model for any young players and any young players at Celtic. He should be the first person to look at.
And on that, two little players that I know that you've got a great interest in. Scott Brown's got a big decision in the summer to make. What would you like to see him do? Keep on kicking the ball, or maybe look to start coaching and forget about kicking it?
No, I'd like him to keep on playing. I think he's fit enough, and I think he's good enough. And you're a long time retired here. So I think he's got plenty of time to do the coaching when he feels the time is right. I think he was a bit sort of really disappointed with the way things ended at Aberdeen because he put his heart and soul into it like he always does. So I'd like to see him play again.
I was getting a bit worried there because when you said, potentially you'd like to see him kick on, had he decided to hang up the boots, it could have meant that I was 9th pick in the five-a-sides and I might have had to have dropped out.
You've gone from 9th, you've gone from 27th to 9th.
Brilliant. Just before you go, your old mate Sean Maloney, I am gobsmacked. 19 games in charge, sacked by Hibs.
Well, I mean, what chance did he have? I'm not convinced the players that were brought in were all of them were Sean's choices. 4 months is nothing. I think they were disappointed not to make the top six. But 4 months doesn't give you any time to put your stamp on a club and get your own players in and put your own style on a club. So I hope he processes everything and comes back and is better for the experience. We all have good experiences in management and bad experiences, but knowing Sean, his appetite will still be there. And for Hibs now, they have some serious thinking to do because Sean was their appointment, so that doesn't look good on their judgment.
I think a lot of Hibs fans, because of the experience of Alan Stubbs and the experience of you, two men who were winners, who changed the mindset of the club and were taking it in a direction that I thought was the right direction. I also thought Sean Maloney was in that camp, and I could see the signs of the way he wanted his team to play football, which left me completely and utterly aghast that they decided to tell a man that he would expect 18 months in the deal. He'd expect, he took a huge gamble, a drop in wages, leaving Belgium and the security. I don't think he'd have jumped if he knew that he wasn't getting at least 18 months and a good transfer window to transform it.
I totally agree with you, Peter. And it was a big step. I think it surprised a lot of people for Sean to come out of the Belgium setup, which is probably a nice comfort zone for him, working with world-class players and, a top manager. Like us all, we wanted fire over, and maybe he saw Hibs as a really good opportunity. I didn't think they were too bad on the Jack Ross, to tell you the truth. And I think Sean eyed that as a potential chance to take Hibs on, maybe win a trophy like we all did. And he has been given nowhere near enough time.
Do you think it's becoming more and more difficult now, Neil, for managers because the expectation and the reality of trying to turn things around so quickly, it's absolutely cutthroat?
Peter, you use the word reality. Not a lot of people live in the real world when it comes to football. So, we live in an age now where managers are under scrutiny 24/7, players are under scrutiny 24/7, everything they say. So, this interview will probably be all over the tabloids tomorrow at some stage, and people will pick the nuts and bolts out of it and suit their own agenda, whatever they want to portray. Team selections are analysed, substitutions are analysed, interviews are analysed. So, yes, it is far more difficult and you have far less time to be a success than maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Last point, do you think VAR coming into Scottish football will take away a lot of the old pub arguments?
Yes. We actually have it in Cyprus. So I think it'll be a welcome introduction. I think it'll be helpful for the referees. And I think it'll give more clarity to very contentious decisions, which we have debated over the years, Pete.
Yeah, I was going to say that to you. When you think of all the decisions that have gone for you and against you, semi-finals of cups, you name it, it's all there. I've got to just ask you before you go: is there, obviously, we wish you every success at Omonoia Nicosia and hope that's another stepping block. No disrespect to their club, to doing things maybe in the same fashion as Ange, as you mentioned there. Is there a day where you're hoping that maybe just walking out that tunnel at Celtic Park to a full house, just giving them a wave, is something not too far in the distant future?
Not really, no. It's not in my thoughts at the minute as well. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I've got a real feel for the game again and a real thirst for it. I'm absolutely loving it. The players here are so humble. The attitude is fantastic. The quality is not what I've been used to, obviously, at Celtic, but really enjoying the challenge. It's a good club with good people. But I could be 3, 4 months into the job, Pete, and gone. But I'm really loving what I'm doing at the minute, so I'm in no rush to get back to Scotland.
Well, listen, as you know, there's a place for you here as a pundit if it all goes pear-shaped. But I hope you're never here on the. I hope you're never here. I hope you're never here on this couch. I don't want you here because that means you've been a success. So it's as good as that. The last bit of advice I'm going to give you is remember it's 30 degrees over there. You've got that ginger head, factor 57. You know that, don't you?
Hey, Pete. I've got 3 pairs of Speedos now.
Brilliant. Neil, wish you every success, son. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Peter.
Hi there. If you enjoyed watching our content, don't forget to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel.